What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with 7 reasons to avoid the Google Pixel 6a. So let's get started. Now let me preface this with a few things. The first thing is, I am part of Team Pixel, and this device is a gift from Google, so I definitely want to make that clear. And the second thing is, I don't think that you should avoid this device necessarily. I think it is a very good phone, but the 7 things that I'll be mentioning in this video are certainly things that you do want to be aware of prior to getting the phone. So you might be aware of several of these things already, but if you're not, then these are definitely very important things. Another thing to keep in mind too is that these things that I'll be going over are not really features that you'd expect to find with a mid-range device like this one, but at the same time, not everybody knows exactly what they should expect to see and not see with a mid-range phone. So if you are one of those people, I think you'll definitely find this video to be helpful so that you won't potentially have any surprises if you happen to buy the Pixel 6a. Now coming in at number 1, that is that there is no wireless charging with the Google Pixel 6a. Now, wireless charging is certainly a feature that I do like to use with phones that do support it. Now, we typically find that feature with higher-end devices like the Galaxy S22 Ultra, or really any of the S-series Galaxy phones. Also, the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro both have wireless charging. So if you are looking to get a Pixel device that has wireless charging, then at least you do have some options. But just know that if you do like to use wireless charging with your current device, you won't be able to do that here with the Pixel 6a. And in addition to that, someone asked me in a previous video about this phone whether or not it has power share. So since this phone doesn't have wireless charging, there is no wireless battery share, but there's also no battery share if you were to plug another device into the Pixel 6a. So keep that in mind. Now moving on to the second thing, and that is that there is no headphone jack with this phone. So if you do like to use traditional wired headphones, then you are going to have to use an adapter and plug into the USB-C port. Now for many people out there, that's not a huge deal, but keep in mind that if you want to charge this phone and use wired headphones at the same time, you're definitely going to have to get a pretty bulky adapter. So that might work for some people, but it might not for others. And unfortunately, at this point, there are not too many mid-range devices and definitely no flagship phones, at least for major companies, that do offer a 3.5mm headphone jack. So if that is a feature that you absolutely must have, then there certainly are still some Android phones that offer it, but that is going to be tough to find. Now the third reason to potentially avoid buying the Pixel 6a is due to the materials that the phone is made out of. Now the good thing is that for the materials that it is made of, they did do a good job here making the phone feel decently premium. We do have metal on the sides of the device, we have glass on the display, but we do have plastic on the back of the phone. So unlike the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, those phones have glass on the back. So if you do want to have kind of a more premium build, then you might want to consider spending a bit more on one of those devices. And I'm sure as well that throughout the lifespan of this device, it'll pick up quite a few more scratches compared to a phone with a glass back or even a metal back. So in general, I would recommend pairing up the Pixel 6a with a case, unless you have no problem with the phone picking up a lot of wear and tear as time goes on. Now, if you're looking to get a smartphone that has face unlock, then unfortunately, we're not getting that here with the Pixel 6a. Now, this device does have an in-display fingerprint sensor, and it does work pretty well, so you can see there, nice and fast and accurate. We'll try that out one more time. So there we go, it does work. But it would have definitely been nice if this phone also had face unlock. And many of the competitors to this phone, such as the Samsung Galaxy A53 5G, not only have an in-display fingerprint sensor like what we're getting here, but that phone also has face unlock as well. And if you want to, you can even have both enabled at the same time so that you'll access the phone via whichever method the phone detects first. So is it necessarily a deal breaker that there's no face unlock with the Pixel 6a? At least for me, it's not a deal breaker, but if you currently have a phone with face unlock and that's a feature you really like, and you're expecting that pretty much any mid-range device has that nowadays, then just know that you are not getting that here with the Pixel 6a. Now the Pixel 6a does come in a very slim box here, which you might have noticed, and that's of course great for portability, but unfortunately there is no charger included. So if you do want to charge your device at the fastest rate possible, then hopefully you already have an 18-watt fast charger, and if not, you're gonna have to go buy one on your own. Now over the years, I have acquired quite a few USB chargers, but pretty much none of them can even charge at up to 18 watts. They're pretty much all 5 or 10 watt USB wall adapters, So keep that in mind. If you have a bunch of chargers already and you don't really see it as a problem that there isn't one included here, then you should definitely double check and make sure that it actually does support 18-watt fast charging. Because if not, then you're not going to be able to recharge this phone at the fastest rate possible. And overall, 18-watt fast charging as it isn't even that fast relative to the maximum wattage for other phones this competes against. So that isn't necessarily a huge problem, but if you find yourself using a charger that you already have and you notice that the phone seems to be charging pretty slowly, definitely take a look and see if it actually is an 18-watt fast charger. And if it's not, then I do recommend buying one because you might as well be able to recharge the phone at the fastest rate possible so that you're not sitting around waiting for it to charge for a very long period of time. Now the next thing is a pretty big deal in my opinion. With the Pixel 6a, there is no 4K video recording with the front-facing camera. Now this phone does have excellent cameras, and it also has a very powerful processor, so it really confuses me why we don't have 4K video recording for the front camera. Now we do have it with the rear camera, which is awesome, that's great. But many of the major competitors to the Pixel 6a, such as the Galaxy A53 5G, do support 4K video recording at the front camera, and I definitely wish that they did give us that feature with this phone. So we're in the camera app right now, and let's head over to the video section. And this is with the rear camera, of course, right now. And you can see when I swipe down, we have an option for 4K or Full HD, which is 1080p. But if we flip around to the front-facing camera, and I do the same thing, there is no option for changing the video resolution. And that is, of course, due to it only being 1080p and there's no other options. So I know there's many people that do not care about having 4K video recording with the front-facing camera, but if you are somebody that's expecting that to pretty much be the standard at this point with a mid-range smartphone, then just know that you're not getting that here. Now I'm going to mention one more thing and then another bonus reason to potentially avoid getting this phone, but coming in number 7 is that there is no telephoto camera. So if you are comparing buying this phone to the Pixel 6 Pro, which I know there's quite a bit of a difference when it comes to price, just know that with this phone, we're getting a dual camera setup on the rear of the device, whereas with the Pixel 6 Pro, we're getting a triple camera setup. And the camera that we're gaining with the Pixel 6 Pro is a telephoto camera. So with the telephoto camera, you'll be getting optical zoom, which definitely makes things a lot clearer when zooming in compared to digital zoom. But with the Pixel 6a, there is no telephoto camera here to be found. So if that is a feature that you really want, then you are going to have to pay a bit more for a more premium Pixel device. And then as a bonus reason to potentially avoid getting this phone, that is that there is no HDMI out via the USB-C port. And in fact, it's the same thing with the Pixel 6 Pro. And I'm pretty surprised by that. I really feel like that's an important feature to have. For example, with Samsung devices, not only do you get the desktop mode, known as DeX, if you were to plug your device into an external monitor, but at a bare minimum, you can just mirror what's on the display of the phone. Now, with the Pixel 6 Pro, Pixel 6, and the Pixel 6a, if you want to plug this device directly into some sort of HDMI adapter, or any adapter of that sort that would be compatible normally with the device that supports that feature, then unfortunately you can't do that here. If you plug this phone into an adapter like that, it's not going to do anything. So if you currently like to mirror what's on your Android device via a wired connection, then just know that if you end up upgrading to the Pixel 6a, you're not getting that feature. And while that feature isn't necessarily that prevalent with mid-range devices, if it is a feature that your phone currently has, just know that that's not necessarily a standard feature that every Android phone actually has on it. So this concludes 7 reasons to avoid buying the Google Pixel 6a. So again, I think this is a great phone and one of the best values when it comes to buying a mid-range device. But keep in mind that if you're expecting this phone to have any of those 7 things that I went through throughout this video, then you're not going to be getting that here. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that so that if you do end up buying the Pixel 6a, there's no surprises at all or any regrets for that matter. But again, for what it is, I think we're getting a really good value here, and Google really did a great job designing this phone. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching. This is Kevin here, and I will see you in the next one.